Warner Bros. Pictures' 2004 film Catwoman was a failed experiment. It's one of the superhero films with a black lead that everyone either forgets or wants to forget. Catwoman is more a feminist film than one about the black experience, but what if we were to look at it through this other lens?
Behind every great Black Panther is a great black Catwoman.
In superficial ways, Catwoman actually has a surprising bit in common with Black Panther. They both have black titular main characters who get cat-based superpowers,
superhuman strength, speed, and instincts,
from the same Egyptian goddess.
The goddess Bast.
In fact, you could argue that Catwoman belongs to a body of films that walked, so films like Black Panther could fly in their vibranium aircrafts. What follows is my own personal reading of Catwoman, one that I'm sure was not intended, but may nonetheless speak to the industry and time that produced it. Spoilers ahead. Catwoman tells the story of Patience Phillips. She has no family and works for a rich white man to make ends meet. Near the start of the film, she dies and is resurrected. At a loss as to what happened and how to live her new superpowered life, she goes to a white scholar named Ophelia Powers, who gives her a sense of purpose, explaining that her identity and powers as Catwoman ultimately come from the Egyptian goddess Bast. I find it interesting that they chose an Egyptian goddess for this film. Did they choose her because Patience is African American and Bast is an African goddess? Or maybe because Bast is the most well-known cat goddess? Both? Either way, this choice is telling. In the West, the one ancient African civilization that is revered the most is ancient Egypt. It shows up in all kinds of media, and the average person knows far more about Ra and Horus than the Orisha or Abosom. In fact, many people in the African diaspora hold on to ancient Egypt as a source of African pride, an ancient people with cities, kings, riches, and literacy. That is why Bast is an interesting choice for this film. As someone with no family, Patience has no living connections to her past. To me, this is reminiscent of the African diaspora, largely or at least partially removed from the culture of her African ancestors. Patience seeks answers and finds them in Ophelia Powers, who tells her about the Egyptian goddess Bast. I interpret this as a reflection of the Afrocentric diasporic Africans that hold up Egypt as the paragon of Africanness. Patience learns of the source of her power from a white woman. In the same way, some members of the African diaspora have been fed accounts of ancient Egypt that led to feelings of kinship and even assertions of descent. You see, our ancestors were taken from West and Central Africa, not the North. As the only ancient African nation that the Europeans label a kingdom and not a tribe, one that was led by quote-unquote kings and not chiefs, Egypt has been embraced by many in the African diaspora who heard and internalized this. Without knowing it, these Afrocentrists are using Eurocentric standards to determine what is worthy of veneration. Ultimately, Bast, and thus ancient Egypt, were probably chosen because of her femininity. The film does have a clear feminist message.
I was a professor for 20 years, until I was denied tenure, male academia.
However, since I think it fails at even that, I went looking for another angle that could possibly redeem the film. If on any level they chose Bast to give some black subtext to this film, I think they failed at this too. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ken Kwame, and I'll see you next time.